For many women, giving birth can be an exciting and life-changing prospect. However, it can also be a daunting experience and is often something they don't want to go through alone. Therefore, most moms-to-be tend to have family and friends on hand to offer support. Typically, these nervous bystanders are also accompanied by medical staff. As professionals, their role is to try to ensure that each pregnancy runs as smoothly and as safely as possible. Moreover, supporting each individual patient is something that one Washington-based doctor prides herself on. Originally hailing from Boston, Massachusetts, Hillary Conway now resides in Washington State with her husband Joel and their son Thor. And the young family can often be seen hiking in the nearby countryside. Indeed, Conway posts regular updates on their adventures to her Facebook. Moreover, Conway is just as passionate about her job as she is exploring the great outdoors. The mom works as an obstetrician and gynecologist at Yakima Valley Farm Workers Clinic in Washington, providing much-needed support for pregnant women. However, in December 2018, the tables were about to turn for this particular doctor. That's because Conway was expecting her second child. And although the mom-to-be was overjoyed at the thought of bringing another baby into the world, her excitement was tempered a little. You see, Conway's own pregnancy meant that she wouldn't be there to support so many of her patients during their labor. And there was one patient in particular to whom Conway had become especially attached. Her name was Katie Moss, and the two women had bonded through their pregnancies. Not only were they both pregnant at the same time, but they were also carrying their second child. What's more, their due dates were just 1 month apart. Therefore, Conway was particularly upset at the thought of missing Moss's labor. Nonetheless, the two mothers felt such a connection that they'd exchanged phone numbers, something that was highly unusual for the Washington-based obstetrician. And as their due dates loomed, it became clear that ultimately Conway was going to miss Moss's big moment. Indeed, Conway recalled feeling especially dejected by this prospect, something she made clear in an interview with Today in December 2018. To miss the delivery, she said, is like missing the culmination of everything you've known for 9 months and sometimes more. But at least Conway still had her own exciting event to look forward to. And on the afternoon of December 12, 2018, that event got underway. Conway went into labor and shortly after 1 p.m. gave birth to a beautiful baby girl, who she would later name Verna Mai. And it's safe to assume that following her arrival, little Verna's parents must have been over the moon. However, the same could not be said for Verna's older brother, Thor, who apparently showed little interest in the newborn. Nevertheless, this little family of 3 had just become 4, and they could now bask in the presence of their newest member. But not for long. You see, later that day, Conway received a text that changed everything. Moss's water had broken and she was on her way to hospital. Yet Conway was so preoccupied with her little girl that she hadn't checked her cell. Consequently, the message remained unopened for a while. But Moss didn't appear to mind not getting a reply, as soon her attention was also on more important matters. Indeed, once she and her husband Daniel arrived at the hospital, the young mom's contractions started to become more regular. Meanwhile, Conway had finally checked her messages. Moreover, once Conway read Moss's text, she sprung into action, leaving her own newborn in the care of one of the nurses. Conway went to inquire about her patient, and the news she received likely came as a surprise. It turned out that Moss was just a stone's throw away. In fact, she'd been allocated the room right next door to Conway's. Clearly, the obstetrician was overjoyed that she'd be able to support her patient throughout her birth. It was awesome to be there for the delivery. It's always a bummer to miss them, Conway told People on December 28, 2018. Meanwhile, despite being in the midst of labor, Moss seemed pretty happy too. I was hoping to see her maybe the next day, but not so soon and so awake, she later told Today. It's not clear which of the two women was more surprised at the serendipitous rooming arrangements. However, there was more pressing matters to attend to, as shortly after Conway had walked into the room, it was time for Moss's delivery to get underway. And as Conway was now in the scene, there was no reason why the doctor couldn't assist in the birth. So just 14 hours after having her baby, Conway helped Moss deliver her own bundle of joy. Except there was more than one bundle. For that morning, Moss gave birth to twin boys. Luke and Soren were born on December 13, 2018, to two very proud parents and one very humble doctor. Humble because Conway didn't actually view her deed as anything special. Rather, she saw it as something that made the birth of her own daughter even more of an incredible experience. And following the twins' arrival, the obstetrician and new mother of 2 headed back to her room for some much-needed rest. What's more, the modest doctor insisted that there were others whose actions deserved more praise than her own. Indeed, Conway was grateful to the nurses who had looked after her newborn while she helped deliver Moss's twins. Nevertheless, what this Washington doctor did was pretty remarkable. So, how's little Verna getting on? Just fine by all accounts. Indeed, following the exciting events of last December, Conway told people that her baby girl is doing well and filling out her onesies more and more every day. Now all that's left for the doctor and her husband to do is relax and adapt to life as a family of 4. And what about Moss and her boys? Well, after a short stay in the neonatal intensive care unit, the twins were healthy enough to go home, much to the excitement of their older brother Gabe. In any event, December 2018 must have been a whirlwind month for Conway and Moss, and we're sure that their shared experience is one that the two mothers will never forget.